Okay, up next we have Michelle. And Michelle is going to be talking about sneakerheads and their practices of trading.
Have you ever walked downtown Vancouver and seen a long line of men waiting outside a retail store? Did you wonder what the fuss was about? Perhaps the scene you saw is similar to the there's a photo of my slide that I took on Granville Street outside of the Adidas store. It is likely many of these individuals who are able to buy the shoe will resell them in an aftermarket for a significant profit. My master's research sought to understand why and how certain sneakers sell more than others, and how individuals engaged in reselling speculate and ascertain value. In other words, why do certain sneakers, such as the ones here that retail for $150 US, resell in the aftermarket for over $1,000? To do this, I did an ethnographic study of the Vancouver sneakerhead community. Sneakerhead is just another term for sneaker enthusiast. And from the data I collected through participant observation, interviews, and engaging in sneaker reselling and collecting myself, I've learned that the Metro Vancouver sneaker resale market is embedded in other global cities, and that there are very entrepreneurial young men who have learned to bypass and navigate governmental and corporate regulations in order to maximize their profits. So what makes sneaker reselling different from other commodities that get resold? You may think of concert tickets, for instance. Well, it's because manufacturers such as Nike and Adidas have been purposefully limiting the supply of popular sneakers. Thus, opportunistic individuals have made a market and monetized on the product scarcity. To an aspiring sneaker trader, it seems that if you know the basics of selling and buying, you should be able to make a profit. However, my research shows that transnational networks, social and cultural capital, and access to certain technologies and to privileged information will give an individual a significant economic advantage over others. The significance of my research as well, it's the first study of its kind to be done on sneaker reselling, and that it contributes to our understandings of theories of value and exchange. And I've done this through the examination of a mundane object, sneakers. Thank you for listening.
Alrighty, does anyone have any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, let's go fast. If there's an arbitrage in the market,
Pardon me?
if there's a market that allows for the sale of $750,000, why isn't the retailer taking advantage of that?
That's an excellent question that I get asked all the time when I do my research. And it's because, so this is a new type of marketing. We live in a world where commodities, we can get them anytime we want. But by limiting the supply, it makes the items seem more alluring, right? And in the long term, it benefits the brand's long-term marketing. And so if someone can't get a shoe, let's say there's only like 2,000 made in the world, then Adidas's other shoes that are similar to it will sell out really fast because it's an aspirational object. And therefore, this also guarantees that sneaker companies will sell these items at full price, right? Rather than waiting for these items to go on sale and make less profits. Yes?
Is there much in the way of female involved in the resale? I see one woman.
Yeah, so, well, chances are she's accompanying her partner. So because the sneakerhead community is an imagined community, meaning there's no parameters about who belongs and whatnot. So I can't get actual statistical information who belongs in it, but it's mostly males. And especially when I talked about males who know how to bypass governmental and corporate regulations, it's been all males. In fact, a very young, 20-year-olds, 16-year-olds who've been able to do this. Yes?
Yeah, I wanted to ask about demographics. Are these guys living in the basement?
Yeah. Okay, so when I talk about social and cultural capital in my presentation, I've learned that those individuals who have made a significant amount of profit through sneaker reselling actually come from privileged backgrounds. If my mom, if I told her that I wanted to resell sneakers in high school, she'd be like, "You're crazy, right?" But these young men who are very entrepreneurial come from a background where they're more privileged, and first of all, they don't have to work part-time job, and their families understand risk. And what is a calculated risk and how to make profit. And so yes, while some of them do live in their parents' basements, those individuals who make the most come from privileged, wealthy backgrounds because their parents have taught them good financial skills and whatnot. Aaliyah?
So do you find that they're buying a whole bunch of them? Because I imagine that in order to be a sneakerhead, you also have to own sneakers as well. So you have to buy like one for yourself and
So there's different categories: sneaker collector, sneaker reselling, and there's people who go in between. And a reseller, their main motive is to make profit, so they will not wear their sneakers because they want to sell them, because they treat the shoe as a commodity. And as soon as you wear a sneaker, the value drops. However they speculate the value to be. And they have these metrics like 0 out of 10 condition, but it's very arbitrary. What makes one 8.5 or 9 or 10? Yes?
So you said that the sneaker community here is rooted in a large way internationally.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find that there's a lot of people who, say, buy sneakers that are only released in Japan, bring them here, resell them?
Yes, and so increasingly, kind of along to your question about this purposeful scarcity, now Nike and Adidas have been releasing country-specific products. And therefore, if you can get a product from somewhere else, you will sell more here. And that kind of goes back to privilege, too. One of my interviewees, his dad is a pilot, and so he'll get his dad to pick up items in Tokyo, in Paris, in London, and he'll resell it here to make a profit, a substantial profit, because no one else here is going to undercut him. Yeah, yes, go ahead.
So how long has this sneakerhead community existed?
Yeah, so I would say that it existed since the late 1970s, like 1980s. It has its roots in kind of like the urban, New York, when New York was undergoing post-industrialization and white flight. And during that time, aspirational figures such as like Michael Jordan and Run DMC and other hip-hop artists, B-boys were a thing too, and they all wore sneakers, and it was a part of their identity to, some scholars argue, to fight against like white hegemonic ideas of what is considered good clothing or whatnot. And so I would say that it started there, but the proliferation of it didn't start until I would say the early 2000s. Now with the internet, you can get information on sneaker releases anytime, around the world, and in multiple shops. Yeah. David?
Last question.
Another question in regards to buying multiple pairs of these. So can that first guy in line buy 10, 20, or 100 pairs?
No. So it's usually one per customer. And so in my research, I talk about elite resellers. These are the ones who come from privileged families. They don't waste their time waiting in hours in line here. They're at home using these technologies and programs that you can check out with 20 accounts on adidas.com to buy Yeezys 20 times. And so the way that they value their time is different from these people. So So when I talk about bypassing corporate regulations, that's them being able to obtain multiple shoes that they're not supposed to, based on the arbitrary rule of the corporation. Yeah, so I'm available after if you want to talk.